Reporting live from the AI4 conference in Vegas. Hopefully I found a little bit quieter place. Holy hell, I had to clean up the audio in the last video. And you know me, I do not like to have to edit my videos any more than I have to. So I came down here to hide in a place where there's not too many people and not too much noise. So I came down here and I want to talk about AI washing your projects and why it is incredibly important in 2026. So I thought it was interesting this morning. I was having a conversation with a director of IT for a 2,000 person company. And as I was talking to you folks before, they have eliminated about 30 positions that they had out of 80 that they had simply through attrition. So they had 80 IT staff last year. Folks left. Basically, the IT director decided not to backfill those positions. And so now they are down to 50 IT support folks for a company of about 2,000 people. And so when I was talking to the IT director about it, I was basically asking questions why. And he was talking about these AI processes that they have put into their systems. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is I asked him, I was like, well, you keep talking about AI and you talk about automation. Are you really using AI or are you using automation, right? Eli, the computer guy, really believes in automation. I believe this is the decade of automation, not necessarily the decade of AI. I do think these tools that we call AI can support automated services, but I think the automation is the more valuable thing, the thing that we frankly could have done a long time ago. I think automation is a lot like QR codes, right? We had QR codes for something like 15 years here in the United States, and frankly, nobody cared. I remember when I was first shown QR codes back in like 2010, and I was like, wow, I mean, that's nice and all. And then I just never used them. And then all of a sudden, COVID happened. We all got afraid of touching anything. And so they started, and restaurants started putting menus online. So they started using QR codes for that. And all of a sudden, like literally overnight, think about this, QR codes. I mean, this is just a dirt simple technology. It's been around for a long time. There's not any unknowns about QR codes really, but it still took us a long time to actually deploy QR codes en masse, simply because it had to hit that tipping point. And one of the things I've argued about with automation is we have been able to automate tasks and companies to a much larger degree than we have been doing, again, for a long time. For 10 years, since 2010, right? You can use scripts to automate so much. XML for your data formatting or whatever, and scripting languages. You can do a lot of amazing things. But what's been weird is that companies just simply haven't. They simply haven't. And I think what we have in this whole AI moment is we kind of have that COVID tipping point for QR codes, where now it's getting companies to think about automating systems, but the CEOs aren't thinking about automating systems, they're thinking about AI. Because remember, AI is valuable and automation, who the hell cares? So anyways, but I think automation is the real power of the next decade. So I was talking to this IT director and I said, is the real value for you coming from AI or is it coming from automation? And he looked at me the way a real IT director does and says, I don't see the difference. At which point I looked at him. I was like, really? Really, you don't see the difference? So I don't see the difference. I'm like, yeah, that is the confidence of somebody that has been in this field a long time. Here's the way to stay out of stupid arguments. Here's the way to stay out of arguments that you don't want to get into. Just be incredibly confident with the statement that you're saying. So anyways, but I thought this was kind of an interesting thing to be thinking about. Because I have a buddy of mine who he has successfully exited numerous startup companies. I'm actually not sure how many companies he's exited at this point in time. And one of the things I was talking with him about, because he's starting a new startup company, and I was asking about things. And one of the things that he said was basically the only way to get funded anymore is to have something to do with AI. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, seriously, like the only way to get money in 2026 is to have something to do with AI. Everybody is willing to throw money at AI. Nobody is willing to put money towards anything else. And so that's one of the reasons we see so many AI companies, right? It's like AI washing. And I think about that too with So I've been here for a little while now, and I've met some people that work in the corporate world and been in the corporate world for a while. And one of the things that I've been talking with these people about is they basically been sent here to AI4 to figure out something to do with AI. Like literally, I was at the run club this morning. So they had a little run club this morning. Holy hell, it was 90 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning here in Las Vegas. Oh, that was an experience. Anyways, but one of the funny parts was, one of the people there, again, he's worked in technology for a while, and his CEO basically sent him, in order to come to AI4. And one of the things he literally asked, he was like, "Hey, does anybody here have a successful use case for AI?" He was literally asking. He was literally, "God damn it, my CEO sent me here to find a use case for AI. I need to find a use case for AI." And the thing was, it was interesting, as I've talked with a number of these types of tech employees here, and what's happened is their CEOs are like just absolutely AI pilled. Their CEOs absolutely believe in AI. They don't really know what AI is. They don't really know what problems AI is going to solve. They don't really know anything. To be clear, CEOs are king of the normies. They're king of the normies. And the normies, as I've said before, normies understand AI. They've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. They've seen Terminator so many times. They get what AI is, and they want the power of Terminator in their corporations. And they're like, yeah, that's not actually what any of this shit is. But anywho, and so anyways, it's really been really funny here. Is like this whole question about things like automating systems versus artificial intelligence. Even where I just went and there was a director for Amazon robotic sorting. My God, they have some titles at Amazon. Anyways, she was a really good speaker. And one of the curious things that she was talking about is, so they have these agentic, so these AI agentic systems in order to manage their robots. So Amazon now has 1 million robots running around, I forget how many facilities she was saying that they're running around in. And so anyways, so one of the things they want to do is do all this AI stuff. And what was curious is she was talking about how AI was being used essentially for natural language processing, but for these robot systems, right, there's error codes, right? Robots have error codes, sensor values, all of that kind of thing. And so what they do is more or less, is they hard code what these error values mean, and then what you're supposed to do when you get these error values, essentially. And then what they do is, like with the AI, is the AI takes what the person is saying, basically processes that into something that a computer can understand. That then goes to an orchestration, like LLM, to determine like which model is appropriate for whatever's going on. And then a lot of what gets returned back is essentially going through a database and saying, okay, this robot has sent back this value, this is what that means, this is what you should do. So think about this, even an advanced AI agentic system being used to monitor and maintain 1 million robots, and a huge part of it is a hard-coded database system, more or less, right? And so I think this is an important thing to be thinking about, like with your career going forward, and especially when you're looking at funding your projects. One of the things you really have to understand is, for executive CEOs, they only have one pot of money, right? As I've talked about before, you know things are going bad when your company pulls out the Golden Lion coffee and the single-ply toilet paper. Because the reality is one pot of money pays for the servers, pays for your salary, pays for toilet paper. So the first thing to go is good quality toilet paper. And the second thing to go is probably members of your team. So anyways, but the thing is like one pot, and what you have to think about with the CEOs is they have to make decisions. Like, what are they going to buy? And so much of what they're going to buy, what they're going to decide to buy, comes down to storylines, right? Just like you buy things based off of storylines, the brand car you drive probably has nothing to do with its miles per gallon or its reliability or any of that. It probably has something to do with some mental image you have in your head. The clothes that you wear, so many things that you spend money on, right? It's not It's not the actual practicality of it. It is the story, right? We talk about lifestyle brands in the retail world. So one of the things you have to think about is executives, CEOs, right? There's kind of lifestyle branding for businesses. They want their businesses to be seen as a certain type of business. Well, here's the thing. This is how you can use their norminess against them, right? Because they don't know what semantic search is. They don't know what embeddings are. They have no fucking clue what a neural network is. RAG? Why would you want a whole bunch of RAGs in your server room? That doesn't make sense. Throw those away, right? They're normies. So one of the things that you might consider when you're going out there to try to sell product, because that's what you do. You sell projects to your executives, right? What is it? Always ABCs, or always be closing, right? And that's what you should be doing as a technology professional. Well, that's your job. Eli, why do I have to do office politics? Why do I have to talk to people? Why do I have to sell the executives? Because it's your fucking job. I don't know what the fuck else to tell you. Upsell or die. That's the reality of our field. Live it, love it, move the fuck on. Anyways, so one of the things you might think about is essentially how can you AI wash projects in such a way to get buy-in from your executives so that they feel like it's cool. Like I remember I had a company of mine years ago. So I had deployed small business server. So there's something called Windows NT. I think it was NT. Anyway, so something called Small Business Server. Fucking fabulous platform back then. So you had Exchange built in, you had Active Directory built in, you had routing remote access built in, VPN services, file services, all of that kind of stuff was built in the server. Plus you had Outlook, remote web access. You had all kinds of remote desktop. All this stuff was built into this thing that cost like $600. Came with like 10 licenses. It was just a beautiful product from Microsoft. Like Microsoft, it was a chef's kiss product, unless you had to reboot it. Rebooting it was a bit of a disaster, but as long as you didn't have to reboot the thing, fucking phenomenal. Anyways, so my client spent so much money having me build this system for him, right? Getting all the client computers up to snuff, installing the server, connecting everything, doing all the troubleshooting, making everything work, right? And then at a certain point, he's like, Eli, I want a Mac computer. And I was like, dude, no, you don't. You do not want a Mac computer. He's like, Eli, my friend has a Mac computer and it's really cool. I want a Mac computer. And I'm like, look, you just spent many thousands of dollars having me install this Windows NT 4.5 system. That is amazing. This does so much amazing shit. It is rock fucking solid because I installed it. You don't want a Mac. And he's like, Eli, I'm telling you I want a Mac. I'm like, okay, well, look, if you really want a Mac, I'm going to bill you hourly, and we are going to do our best. And to say, when I'm going to do my best, I'm betting I'm going to fail. But we're still going to try to do our best. He's like, oh. Right? And anyway, that's, again, me as a professional. My job is to tell the executive that they're being stupid. But it's also my job. The executive still wants to do it. Sir, yes, sir. Whatever, right? Anyways, and that was the thing. Really wanted this fucking Mac. It was one of these beautiful Mac. Again, it was like 2009 or something like that. So it was when Macs were starting to become pretty and fashionable. And anyways, it was just a disaster. QuickBooks didn't work on it. Active Directory in 2009 on Mac was just a crap show. Remote access was quirkiest. Oh, it was just a fucking disaster. But the important thing to understand with a CEO is the most important thing for him was he wanted to be cool. He thought his friend was cool with a Mac computer, so by God, he wanted to be cool with a Mac computer too. And so I billed the ever-loving shit out of him, got to the end of about 2 months, and said, you have seen me work my ass off to try to make this thing work right. Can we go back to a Windows computer, please? And then he hung his head and said, okay, fair enough. And then he paid his bill. And then I give him another bill for transferring back to Windows. Anyways, but that's one of the important things to understand, right? Executives, they like their fashion statements too. They like their lifestyle brands too. And so if your executive really wants his AI garbage, one of the things to ask yourself is how can you AI wash rather not AI systems, right? So one of the things that I really like about these AI or LLMs, let's just say LLMs, one of the things I think is phenomenal about LLMs is simply the fact that they can do language processing, right? That you can talk to it in natural English or whatever language you are, and then you can give it things basically to trigger, again, basically give it tools, and so that way it can talk naturally. You can talk naturally to it, and then it can fire off static tools. You can fire off SQL statements or whatever other tool. You get a response back, and then that can turn that into English, right? That is something where 95% of your project has not a damn thing to do with anything anybody normally considers AI. No neural networks, no LLMs, no embeddings, no semantic search, none of that horse crap. But then you have 5% to make it look cool, AI-ish, right? And so this is something that you might be thinking about going forward, because one of the big things to understand is a lot of technology professionals are going to be losing their jobs, right? We talk about this with macroeconomic forces. The macro environment is a disaster. We see the layoffs that are obvious. I've been talking about the attrition that is not obvious. You have AI tools coming online, a whole bunch of these other things. A lot of technology professionals are going to be losing their jobs. That's just fact of the matter. You can fucking hate me all goddamn day long. I ain't doing it. I don't got no employees to fire. This isn't a me thing, right? It is just a lot of employees are gonna be losing their jobs. And so one of the things that you really need to be thinking about is how do you stand out to the point that you're not the one that the CEO wants to lay off, right? The names come in for the people that are gonna be laid off. It's like, oh, you're gonna lay off that guy? That one is the one that's actually going to give me all of my AI dreams. You're like your AI dreams, which is a bunch of SQL statements wrapped in a little bit of the small language model, right? But anyways, something to be thinking about. Something to think about. How do you AI wash? Because it is fascinating here. I've talked to a lot of longtime technology professionals, not 18-year-olds, not straight out of college, whatever else. They've been working for their companies for years. Their CEOs are AI pilled, and they are at a fucking loss. They are at a complete loss as to what they can give their bosses that has any value as AI. And so that's something that they'd be thinking about. Like, what can you create and give it the veneer, right? That's a veneer. It's a veneer of artificial intelligence, so that your CEO, when they're going out to play golf or pickleball or whatever the fuck it is CEOs do in 2026, they can talk to their buddies, be like, well, yeah, we're fully into AI. And the cool part is they have no idea what any of these words that I've just said mean. So they will say it with a straight face, and then their friends will, oh, and then their friends want to be fully AI too. And that's how the real business world goes. And you're like, Eli, that sucks. Eli, I did not get into technology to veneer shit. I did not get into technology to wash shit. I got into technology to do real technology. Well, that's great. You just keep that attitude while you're on unemployment, for as long as unemployment lasts for you. For some of us, kissing ass is just part and parcel of the job. So anyways, what do you think about this whole idea of AI washing? What do you think about the idea, again, of an IT director who very confidently says, I do not see the difference between automation and AI? And you're like, really? Is that what you're telling your CEO? You do know I'm not your CEO, right? What do you think about, again, long-term professionals having their CEOs AI pilled, and them just looking pathetically, them just looking like little lost puppy dogs, saying, I don't understand what the fuck to do. I have been given a budget to deploy artificial intelligence, and I have no idea what I should be doing right now. Anyways, things to be thinking about. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. Link is down below. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. And with that, see y'all later.